But he who made gods of our race, knowing good and evil, he bade know thyself and taught initiation.
Yo, Sap Soul, Pastor Blacklip. I'm all about getting to the root of things, and Mr. Crowley has been instrumental throughout music for before I was born. You know what I mean? Led Zeppelin, the Beatles. There's a lot of great artists that, you know, are the building blocks for even hip-hop.
Satan's plan through Crowley was to bring in a drug revolution and to open up the masses to the demonic spirit world. Crowley's former disciple and secretary, Israel Regardie, stated, quote, Crowley became an expert at a dozen or so varieties of Hindu and Buddhist yoga. He experimented with more drugs more frequently than anybody in the West before the neurological revolution of the 1960s. In the Book of the Law, the satanic spirit that channeled through Aleister Crowley merely echoes the satanic strains from the Garden of Eden so many years ago. He states, quote, I am the snake that giveth knowledge and delight and bright glory and stir the hearts of men with drunkenness to worship me, take wine and strange drugs. Crowley interpreted this in his book Diary of a Drug Fiend to mean, quote, things like heroin and alcohol may be and should be used for the purpose of worshiping, that is, entering into communion with the snake that giveth knowledge and delight and bright glory.
There's a guy tweaking out over here at the pharmacy. It's creepy.
Walking?
Right there.
Oh, okay.
I had for the pulse when you were pulling up.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Yeah, pick her up and she fucking fell.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
An ABC News investigation tonight, the heroin epidemic in America. Tonight, this number, 129 people die every day in this country from a drug overdose. The vast majority related to pain pills or heroin. That's more deaths than from car accidents and from guns.
Aleister Crowley's twisted poetry glorified drugs as a door to the demonic. He wrote, quote, stab your demoniac smile to my brain, soak me in cognac, love, and cocaine. Heart on my heart, come out of the rain, let's have another go of cocaine. Always go on till you have to stop, let's have another sniff over the top. Robert Anton Wilson, who played a leading role in the counterculture revolution of the 1960s, stated in his book, Sex and Drugs, quote, Crowley played a decided role in developing the philosophy or mystique of the drug revolution.
Well, I've been an admirer of Aleister Crowley. I think that I'm carrying on much of the work that he started over 100 years ago, and I think the 60s themselves, you know, Crowley said he was in favor of finding your own self and do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law under love. It was a very powerful statement.
If Crowley was to implement the satanic new age of Antichrist, he knew, like Hitler, he would have to go after the impressionable youth to succeed. Crowley declared, let me seduce the boys of England, and the oldsters may totter, unconverted to their graves. Then these boys, become men, may bring about the new heaven and the new earth, but without an army I am useless. Give me my army, young men, and we will sweep these dogs into the sea. Crowley's new age of Antichrist consisted of many points for implementation if it was to succeed. Crowley taught the need for the acceptance of the credo of the new eon, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. In the 1960s, this became do your own thing. As we have seen, this also incorporated the idea of the drug revolution, but Crowley did not stop there. He also called for a sexual revolution. Crowley also taught the need for the synthesis of Western occultism and Eastern mysticism. He taught that there was to be rebellion against all established authority, especially Christianity. He also taught the establishment of the New World Order under the Antichrist. Crowley saw the United States as a place ripe for his hippie revolution and stated prophetically before his death in 1947, quote, "I turn therefore to America, to a nebulous mass which I expect to develop into an organized galaxy. Every race, language, and creed of Europe is represented. All Americans are eager for power in one form or another. No humbug so outrageous as to deter them from running after the new religion." Crowley went on to state that their dauntless innocence persuade me that just as soon as they have acquired the critical faculty, they will progress spiritually more swiftly and sanely than has ever been known. Crowley had hoped to get his disciples into influential positions in America to influence the masses. One such disciple was former Harvard professor turned drug guru Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary, the defunct Harvard professor, led the drug revolution in the 1960s as he handed out mescaline and LSD like it was candy to the youth. This in turn opened up the hippie youth of the West to the pagan demonic gods of the East, who were also promoted by Aleister Crowley. We can see here that Timothy Leary is under a painting which bears the number of the Antichrist, 666, who is prophesied to rule the world until he's destroyed by Christ at Armageddon.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I know.
Once you're sunburned, you're gonna make it worse.
I know.
Okay?
Is it
Get a big hat.
I'm gonna ask you guys, is it possible to get something loose? Because I like keeping it loose, like when you're...
Wear a shirt, maybe. A big shirt?
Yeah, or something, yeah. But they told me at the hospital, don't
What are you guys
keep
gonna
it
do with
covered.
her? Are you gonna take her or
Nothing.
you're not?
No. Someone just called.
Отпусти руки. Мне не расслабиться, потому что... Не надо иголку! Не надо! Не надо иголку, блядь! Не надо! Блядь! Отпустите меня, блядь! Мне нужно движение вот это сделать!
This and then somebody comes in and says, "Yeah, we put about 800 hits of acid in that frosting, you know." And I go, "Oh God, you know, oh Jesus Christ, I'm gonna be totally fucking wiped out with this." I start to hear the overhear people, you know, and I'm going off in this paranoid space. I'm thinking, God, this place is full of mafia guys, and they're all trying to kill me, you know. I got that notion in my head, you know.
I'm sorry he isn't around now to appreciate the glories that he started.
Wow. Man, that's not okay.
Josh, you okay, buddy?
Is he okay? Get some water on his face.
As Satan guided Crowley, Crowley declared that his writings were to be, quote, circulated among the young, end quote. Crowley predicted that America would pick up, quote, a few axioms on which a working majority can agree, a few dogmas which it could rally. Do what thou wilt, of course, became do your own thing, and if it feels good, do it in the 1960s. Timothy Leary came up with a few of his own.
He looked out at that crowd and he said, turn on, tune in,
That's right.
and drop out.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out. We're turned on, and we're tuned in, and we're very dropped out.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out became turn on, tune in, and take over, as the easily led Crowleyan youth culture was deceived into believing that they had received spiritual enlightenment, when in fact they had swung the door open to Satan and his plan to destroy the world. Satan had effectively slipped in his destructive teachings to undermine traditional moral values through the cloak of a supposed anti-materialistic peace movement. Crowley taught that his satanic doctrine should be cloaked under the lie of love. Album.
Listen to Sgt. Pepper's. They were brilliant. Sgt. Pepper had changed the world.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of the most popular bands of the 1990s and into the new millennium, have also promoted homosexuality. On their album Blood Sugar, Sex Magic, they put a K at the end of Sex Magic like Aleister Crowley. At the MTV Music Awards, the Red Hot Chili Peppers gave special thanks to their lord Satan.
First of all, I'd like to thank Satan. I'd like to thank Satan. Thanks, Satan. Satan.
Part of Aleister Crowley's so-called sex magic included orgies with little boys whom Crowley molested. Crowley taught that in order for the new eon of Antichrist to be established, he had to initiate the world into homosexuality. Crowley began by implementing many of his homosexual sex magic rituals into his secret order called the OTO. The musical group White Stains named themselves after erotic homosexual poetry written by Aleister Crowley, which Crowley grossly entitled White Stains.
They keep with us, then maybe we're gonna have to start throwing bombs to make them stop.
We're young. We're queer. We're gonna rule the world. We're young. We're queer. We're gonna rule the world.
You're about to see startling evidence that Crowley had as much influence on the world with his sex revolution as he did with the drug revolution. Aleister Crowley knew that if he was to establish a new age of Antichrist, he would have to destroy God's design for family, consisting of men and women as husband and wife. Crowley therefore declared in his book Magic Without Tears that family was public enemy number one. Crowley, who was out to destroy the family, said this, quote, "Think what horrid images it evokes from the mind. Not only Victorian, wherever the family has been strong, it has always been an engine of tyranny. Curse them. They are always in the way. To the performance of this work, speaking of the New Age, the nearest obstacle and the most obvious is the family. Since the satanic revolution of the 1960s, there has been an incredible attack on the family as homosexual recruiting has increased dramatically. Crowley made it no secret that he was interested in popularizing homosexual deviancy and even child molestation. Crowley declared, "Let me seduce the boys of England. I shall fight openly for that which no living Englishman dare defend, even in secret, sodomy. And in truth, there seems no better way to avoid a contamination of women. Sodomy is an aristocratic virtue which our middle class had better imitate if they wish to be smart." Crowley's emphasis on homosexuality found their way into mainstream politics initially through homosexual organizer Harry Hay. This is highly significant because Harry Hay, who led the charge of the sodomy revolution in the 60s, was like Leary, a disciple of Aleister Crowley's teachings.
Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was through sodomy, especially of young boys.